Sairam students, let's begin with the class 8 geography. Today we are going to begin with the chapter number 4 of geography, that is agriculture. Before starting with the main topics, let's go through the content of our chapter agriculture. In this chapter, we are going to see the introduction first, then we will be learning about the farm system, then the types of farming, then again the major crops we are going to learn in this topic. Then after that the agricultural development. In that we are going to learn the farm in USA as well as the farm in India. And even in types of farming, children will be learning in detail about each and every type. So still subtopics are there under this. So when we will learn the main topic, in that you are going to learn about that subtopics also. Let's begin with the introduction of a chapter first. Here you can see one image has been given to you here. This image is there in your textbook also. This is the image of the three children, that is Gurpreet, Madhav and Tina. They were walking through the village where they saw a farmer tilling land. Then the farmer told them that he was growing wheat and had just added manure to the soil to make it more fertile. He told the children that the wheat would fetch a good price in the mandi, that means in the market where he is going to sell that, from where it would be taken to the factories to make bread and biscuits from flour. See, in short only that farmer has tried to explain to the children, like the wheat will be taken to the market first, then from the market it will be taken to the factories, then it will be from their factories it will be converted from that flour that will be converted into breads and biscuits, like. So he has tried to tell them the process of how it is done. Now here the transformation, that is this transformation from wheat to the finished product, that is the bread and biscuits from the flour of that wheat, right? So this transformation from a plant to a finished product, it involves three types of economic activities. It is not like, see, as that farmer explained to the children, he told them first he is going to get the wheat and that wheat will be sold in the market, right? So first is the wheat here, then it will be taken to the factories, right? The second process there again. Then from that in that factories, from that flour, the breads and the biscuits will be made. That is the final product, that is the finished product will be done in the third part. So this is divided in three types of economic activities. That means these are primary, secondary and tertiary activities. These three stages are called as primary, secondary and tertiary activities. Now let's understand each and every activity in detail, children. Here I have given you the images of the primary activities. Now primary activities include what? It includes all those connected with extraction and production of natural resources. See, as that farmer was cultivating their wheat, so he was using the natural resources there, right? The soil and the seeds. He was sowing the seeds and he got that. So primary activities is connected to that only. It is connected to extraction as well as the production of natural resources. Now let's go through the example here. In the images also you can try to understand the examples have been given to you. Agriculture, fishing and gathering. These all are the examples of the primary activities. Now the second activity is the secondary activity. Now what secondary activities includes here? Secondary activities are concerned with the processing of these resources. These resources means that has been done in the natural resources that has been used in the primary activities. That extraction and the production of the natural resources has been done in primary activity. That same from the primary, that natural resources will be coming to the secondary activity for processing. See, as that farmer told them, it will be taken to the factories. Okay, after market, it will be going to the factories. From that flour, then the bread and biscuits will be made like this. So secondary activities are concerned with the processing of these resources. These resources means the natural resources. And what does it includes? It includes manufacturing of steel, baking of bread and weaving of cloth. All these are the examples of secondary activities. And the third is the tertiary activities. Okay, the primary activities has done their work. Now secondary activities as all processing has been done, but the most important tertiary activity, actually speaking, all these have got the importance at their own level, because in primary activity, if the extraction, the production is not done, the crops will not be cultivated, right? Then in secondary, if the processing is not done, the crops will be lying like that only. Now the third important stage is the tertiary activity. If it has not been forwarded, now tertiary activities provide support to the previous two sectors, that is the primary and the secondary sectors, through their services. How it provides services to them? Transportation, trade, banking, insurance and advertising. These all are included in the tertiary activities. So children, in short, we can say all these activities are equally important, right? Primary activities, secondary activities, and then the tertiary activities. And the examples of primary activities are agriculture, fishing and gathering, right? Whereas in secondary activity, the examples were manufacturing of steel, baking of bread and weaving of cloth. All are included in secondary activities. Whereas in tertiary activities, transport, trade, banking, insurance and advertising. If all these are not included, the product will not be sold in the market, right? Now moving to the next important, agriculture is a primary activity. Now as you all have understood the meaning of these three sectors, primary, secondary and tertiary, you all have understood this very well. Like primary is agriculture is a primary activity, right? Because it includes growing crops, fruits, vegetables, flowers and rearing of livestock. All these are included in agriculture. Now let's see the word agriculture, that has been derived from the Latin word ager or agri. The meaning is soil and the culture means cultivation. So in short, agri means soil and the culture means cultivation. Agriculture means cultivation of soil, right? Now in the world, 50% of persons are engaged in agricultural activity. This we are talking about the whole world, okay? Now let's come to our India, our country, India. 2/3 of India's population is still dependent on agriculture. That means 60 to 70% population of our country is dependent on agriculture. That is the reason our country, India, is called as an agrarian country. Why agrarian country is connected to agriculture only? Because 60 to 70% of population is dependent on agriculture. That is the reason our country is called as an agrarian country. Okay. Now let's move to the next topic. See, we know agriculture, but it requires some favorable topography, right? What are the factors that are most important for agricultural activity? The two main important factors are the soil and the climate. These two are the vital, that means the important for the agricultural activity. Favorable topography of soil as well as and climate. The suitable climate is required for agricultural activities. Now the land on which the crops are grown is known as arable land. You may get this as answer in one sentence. What is arable land? Arable land is the land on which the crops are grown is known as the arable land. Now let's move to the next topic here. In your textbook, it has been given here to make you understand different types of culture. Now just go through in short here. We'll be learning all this in detail in the next slide now. Here it is given agree, seri, pissy, witty, haughty, plus culture has been given and all, right? So let's understand the meaning of each, and agree plus culture means agriculture. Seri plus culture is sericulture. Pissy plus culture is pisciculture. Witty plus culture is viticulture. Haughty plus culture is horticulture. Now try to understand the meaning of all this. Culture means you all know very well. Culture means cultivation. It means the different types of cultivation has been shown to you here. And agree means you know very well, that is soil. So first one you all are very much aware, agriculture, that is the cultivation of soil. But then too we'll be understanding the meaning of all this in detail here in further slides. Now let's understand the meaning of this agriculture here. See, you can see here the image has been given to you of agriculture. The science and art of cultivation on the soil, that is raising crops and rearing livestock. It is all called as farming. Agriculture can also be called as the farming also. It is one and the same thing. Again, I'll repeat, it is science as well as the art. Science means it includes seeds and processes required, right? And art of cultivation, see, unless and until the skilled person is not doing this work, that art is required, right? Without that art, it cannot be done, correct? Is it an easy job to do the agriculture activities? Definitely not. So science and the art of cultivation that has been combined together on the soil, raising crops and rearing livestock, it is called as farming. Now the next culture we are going to see here is sericulture. Now sericulture, that is related to silkworms, that is commercial rearing of silkworms. Commercial means it is related to earning money, okay, for trading purpose. It is not only for the purpose of like just to have a hobby of doing this. No, it is for the commercial use. Commercial rearing of silkworms. It may supplement the income of the farmer. It is another supplement for the farmer to earn income through the sericulture. Now the next culture that we are going to learn here is pisciculture. Now let's understand the meaning of this term pisciculture. What is that? Breeding of fish. But breeding of fish where? In the specially constructed tanks and ponds. Now children, you can see in this image also the tanks and ponds has been constructed for breeding of fish. Even this is also for the commercial gains only, that is for earning profit. Okay, so pisciculture is breeding of fish in specially constructed tanks and ponds, and that is also for commercial use of a commercial gains. Then the next culture, that is viticulture. Viticulture means the cultivation of grapes. Okay, and now the last one we are going to see here is horticulture. Now horticulture means growing vegetables, flowers and fruits for commercial use. Even viticulture is also for commercial use. Okay, so in short you can say all these cultures, whatever we have seen here now, agriculture, sericulture, pisciculture, viticulture, horticulture, these all are for the commercial use only. Now the next point we are going to cover in the today's session is the farm system. Now agriculture or farming, I told you in the previous slide also, it is one and the same thing, can be looked at as a system. Children, in the beginning only you saw agriculture is a primary activity, right? So it is supported by some system. It is not like only agriculture alone can give everything, but it has got one system of working. Let's understand what is that. Now the important inputs are inputs. Now here the system has been divided as inputs, then the second is processing, and then finally we will get the output. Children, in your computers also you have learnt about this system, right? First you type the letters from the keyboard, that is your input. You put something as an input there, right? then the processes, and the CPU done the processing of that, right? Then finally you can see that typed letter on the screen on your monitor. That is your output that you can see directly on that screen, right? So similarly in farming also, it can a system is there that is related to the same as you have in your computer. First is the input, then the processes, and then the output. Let's understand what is there in the input. The important inputs are seeds, fertilizers, machinery, and labor. These all things are included in inputs here. Now after input, the next is processes. Let's move to that now. Now some of the operations are that involves plowing, sowing, irrigation, weeding, and harvesting. All these operations are included in processes. Okay, and the last is the outputs from the system include, what is the output that we get? We get the crops, if it has been done for cultivation of the crops. We get the dairy, we get wool, we get poultry products. It depends on the input. If our input has changed, definitely the process will also change, and the output that we are getting is also going to be according to the input that has been forwarded, right? So this farm system includes these three main operations. That is, first is the inputs, then the processes, and then the outputs. Now children, in your textbook, the farm system of an arable farm, the image has been given like this. It has been the process that we have already learnt in farm system, the same has been shown to you in the figure type also. Inputs, processes, and outputs. What is there in input? It includes machinery, seeds, chemicals, as well as the labor, right? Everything is included in that input, correct? Then processes, what is included in the processes? Plowing, sowing, spraying, harvest, even weeding, everything. All these are included in the processes. Then the finally outputs. What is the output? That is the crops that you get. Okay, so this is very important for you to understand. The farm system is divided in, is basically dependent on three main things, that is inputs, processes, and outputs. Okay, now children, when you have learnt about the inputs, about the seeds, machinery, chemicals, as well as the labor, these inputs are divided in two, that is the physical and the human farm inputs. Now let's understand what we get in the physical inputs. In physical inputs, we get the sunshine, that is rainfall, slope where the cultivation is done, the temperature, the most important, even the quality of the soil. All these are included in physical inputs. Now, whereas in human inputs, from the word itself we can understand, physical means from the nature, that we have got from the nature, and human inputs means the human that has been done by the labor, that is storage, labor, machinery, chemicals. All these are included in human inputs. Okay, so I hope you have understood the process of the farm system very well. It is divided in inputs, processes, and outputs. And only if we'll talk about the inputs, it is divided in two, as human inputs as well as the physical inputs. Okay. So children, in today's session, we have completed with the two topics, that is introduction as well as we have seen the farm system. Just quickly, we will just go through that, what we have seen in the introduction here. In introduction, we saw the example. Here the farmer explained the children about the growing of the wheat, right? Then he told them that will be taken to the market. It will be taken to the factories after that. Then from that in that factories, from that flour, the bread and the biscuits will be made, right? Then in this we saw that the transformation from a plant to a finished product, it involves three main economic activities. We learnt about the three activities, that is primary, secondary, and tertiary activity, correct? In primary, we saw it includes the extraction and the production of natural resources, whereas in secondary we saw it was concerned with the processing of the natural resources, correct? Then in the third tertiary activities, we saw it provides support to the primary and the secondary sectors through services. The examples also we have seen for each and every type. And then we learned that agriculture is a primary activity. You understood that why it is called as the primary activity, why agriculture is a primary activity. Then we saw 2/3 of our India's population is still dependent on agriculture, right? Then after that, we saw the factors that are the favorable topography of soil and the climate. These two are the most important factors for the agricultural activity. Then we learnt about the arable land. The land on which the crops are grown is known as arable land. Then the next we saw the different types of culture. We saw agriculture, sericulture, pisciculture, viticulture and horticulture. Then after that you learnt about the farm system. It includes the important inputs, then the processes and then the outputs. Then we learnt about the two types of inputs, that is the human inputs as well as the physical inputs. I hope you are very much clear with the today's session, children. Go through the presentation, go through your textbook. See you in the next session with the next topic, children. Till then, take care. Bye.